Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. And I just want to welcome all of you here today. This is going to be a fun day. So it is my sincere pleasure to welcome someone who's already known by most of you, Reverend Edwene Gaines. Edwene is a Unity minister. She was ordained in 1979, and she is also the author of two books, The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, and the other is How to Become Debt Free, Forgive. You may have joined her at a talk or even at her retreat center, which was in Alabama. And she stays active with a number of the New Thought groups and currently teaches and speaks at Unity of Baton Rouge. Zoom teaching, mentoring, and writing is included with all of that. And Edwene has received 2 honorary Doctor of Divinity degrees. Today we have the pleasure of her company while she gives us guidance for talks, and we get to soak it all up in the prosperity consciousness she exudes and has taught us for years. Please give a warm welcome to Reverend Edwene Gaines.
Thank you, Deni. It's so fun to be here. I'm excited. Hello, everyone. I want to be able to see you. I've seen me in the mirror many times. So, my name is Edwene Gaines. And what I want you to know about me is that I am a woman of power. And I'm a woman of passion, and I care deeply about you and me and all of our brothers and sisters on planet Earth. It's my full intention to make a difference on this planet. In 1976, I made a commitment to the Lord of my being, the goddess within me, that I would be 100% responsible for the transformation of the abundance consciousness of planet Earth. 45 years that I've been a minister, I've focused on teaching prosperity all over the world. I've taught it in every state in the United States except West Virginia. They never invited me. I'm praying for them. All is well. So I want to start today. Today we're going to talk about how to talk that inspires people, lifts them up. And I like to say they give a talk like a rock, that people just are hung on it and they want to be better. We all want to be better. We know we have things to do to fix, to make our lives happier. So I've chosen a few scriptures or quotes today that kind of put me in that upward mood that I want us to have as we talk. The first one, I don't know if you have made a copy of the handout that was in the email that you got, but you don't really need it right now. If you have it, you can look at it. But this first one is set in ancient Greece, and these are two people who actually lived. There was a Pericles and the Demosthenes, and so they were both great scholars. They were both orators. You know, they didn't have TV or football games at night, and this, so they would gather in the evenings most of the time, late afternoon, and have their conversations. And oratory was a very competitive thing, and everybody wanted to be a good speaker. And so I believe this quote is in one of the Shakespearean plays, but this was a saying that was going around. When Pericles speaks, the people say, how well he speaks. When Demosthenes speaks, the people say, let's march. So do we want folks to comment that we speak well, or do we want to imagine that or inspire them to action? We want them to get up out of their comfort zone and do something. Is that what we want? We don't want to just get up there and blabber, 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 and everybody say, okay, let's go to IHOP. I had a mother-in-law, among my many mother-in-laws. She went to church with us one Sunday, but she didn't go to the Unity Church. She wasn't New Thought. She was very traditional. And after church, we're walking out. I always like to hear her comments about the church service, because this day was a jewel. She said, I bet he ordered that from Sears and Roebuck. about this. Would you hate that? If somebody said that about my, I'd cry. I'd say, that's not nice. Don't do that. Just hush. Don't have anything good to say. Don't say anything. And then I also like this one from John Wesley, who's another uh, traditional religious background. He said there are different ways that this is quoted. This is the one that I found last night. Get on fire for God, and people will come to watch you burn. Can you get that feeling? Cindy, my associate here, pointed out that it's very, very negative. We don't want to watch people burn. But it's really more about passion. Are you just coming up there to have a conversation about God? Or get up there? I get up and go to that church because I want a jolt of God again. And of course, we don't have to go to church to get that. We can get that sitting back home reading a magazine. But there's something gently and perfectly and powerfully inspirational to be in a group of like-minded people and hear someone who's telling the God's truth about what's so for us. Because I need reminded, I think we all do from time to time. And then this, I'm sure you're familiar with this one from Maya Angelou. She wrote, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So that's sort of my little check sheet when I go in to give a talk. Am I going in there to be complimented on my speech? Or am I going there to shake some people up to just quit talking about it and go do it? And then I love the one from Reverend Wesley, the notion that we have to really believe what we're doing or it doesn't come off as authentic. And I know you are authentic, but it seems that a lot of the ministers that have been in the field for a while still have times of self-doubt and fear that maybe they're doing something wrong. And I know this for certain in my own life, that when I express fear around my talk, it's because I'm not quite certain of it. And also, I begin to examine what's going on in me. And usually, if I'm having fear or anxiety or nervousness, one of my prayer partners constantly points out to me, if you're doing that, do you get nervous when you go to give a talk? If you have that nerve or anxiety, that means you don't trust God. What are you doing up there if you don't trust God? In the Bible, you remember those passages that say, they're passages that say, don't worry about it. Just, I'll get you the water. When you get up to speak, take no thought. There are 76 of those in the Bible. Don't worry about it. It says, actually, you will be given the words to speak when it's your time. Now, I want to tell you a story about the first two Sunday lessons I gave. There were two, first two. When I went to ministerial school back in the 70s, every Monday morning we played church, and the classmates one would do the sermon, one would pick out the music, one would lead the meditation, one would do the bulletin, all the little tasks that have to be done for church, and we would have church. And we would have it over in the Silent Unity Chapel, and it was an authentic Monday morning church. And all of us, the students, were so anxious and excited about when we got to do the sermon. So this is my first sermon. I'm over there in the chapel, and I'm getting to do the lesson. And I'm telling you, I prepared like crazy. I remember now the topic was I was going to do the complete delineation of the divine feminine imagery in the Old and New Testament in 20 minutes. So I had no cards to stack that high. And man, I had everything documented. It was a scholarly. I was so proud of that thing. It was they were gonna love it. I knew I understood and I was all dressed up like Miss Thing. And I mean I got up there when it was my turn and I stood there and I was going through my notes and saying these brilliant things and really big scholars and, and while I'm so proud, I'm just oozing with pride. And I look up and nearly everybody in the room is asleep. The head of the school, minister of school, he was snoring actually. I was mortified. I started crying. I was hurt. And I finished up this talk and I left school that day. I didn't go to the classes. I just left school and went home crying all the way home. God, you can't be doing this to me. This is not fair. I want to be a minister. I am a minister. But I can't be putting people to sleep. God, listen, next time I give a talk, I don't want to do that this way. If I have to fall off the stage and bust my bum, I'll do whatever you say do. I will absolutely do what you say do. I don't care what it is, but don't let me be putting them to sleep. So my time came around again about 6 months later. So I've done another talk, lots of notes, sharing this beautiful information. I forgot the second topic I had, but it was brilliant, and I was very proud of it. And I did my work, I did my preparation, and I have got it, man. Another stack of cards. So the time has come. I'm sitting on below the stage, getting ready to go up, and I reminded God, okay, God, now I just want to remind you. I can't be putting people to sleep. You got to do something good here for me. So I heard faintly, okay, leave your note cards on your chair. I said, no, leave them on the chair. I put them down. I stood up. I couldn't have told you my name at that time. And I'm walking all the way up the steps onto the stage, over to the podium. Said, what am I going to talk about? I couldn't even remember what my topic was. And I'm looking at each, they're all looking at me, because everybody wants to see him start. So I'm standing there and I do not have a single thing in my mind to say. And so I can remember very clearly to myself saying, okay, Holy Spirit, you're on. And I began to talk. I couldn't tell you today what I talked about, but I talked for my 20 minutes and I got a standing ovation. Can you believe that? I don't even know what I could have told you one word I said, but evidently it was pretty good because they liked it. And the head of Silent Unity commented to ministerial ministerial school head that this is the kind of woman we want to be a minister. Oh, and it wasn't me. It was somebody else. It was God speaking through me. I know that with every part of my being. Now, I wish that had cured me for all time, but it made me know that when Jesus said, it is not I that does the works, but God within me. And that's the level of consciousness I want to be every time I start to give a talk. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to focus on building a talk that will be that demonstration of Demosthenes for us. Let's march. We're not just going to sit here and talk about this stuff. We're going to seep it into our body, this knowing that the truth about you is that you are unique in the universe. There's never, ever been anyone like you, and there never will be again. You are God in human form. learning what it is to be a human, learning deep, abiding, profound lessons that you need as you evolve into a person who runs a universe or a being that runs a universe. So we're just getting started on this wonderful journey into practicing Godhood. That's one of the things I loved about the Unity teachings. It taught me that we are mystics, we are gods in human form, we are on a pathway, every single one of us on a multitude of pathways, but all the pathways lead to the same place. So there's no right way to do anything. And that's why I want to stress that when I talk to you about how I do my talks and how I put them together, I'm not saying this is the we way. This is the way that everyone does it. No, it's not. It is a way to put a talk together. And if you have a better way, you do it. And if you just wanted to pick one idea that you hear today, if it has value to you, that will be a great pleasure for me. So I base my activity in preparing a talk on the works of John Rankin. Some of you may be familiar with his name. He was the first Unity minister that I ever met. Pardon me. He was the minister in Houston while they were building the pyramid back in that era. And he wrote a little book called The Pocket Counselor. Some of you may have copies of these. I used to give these away at the retreat center. And what John Rankin did is he picked out every single possible task that we have to do and wrote an affirmation for it for the minister. So this is a list of all these topics from an affirmation, and I'm going to read you for about 3 minutes the affirmation for lesson selection, how he prays for the right lesson. I typed this one, and it took about 3 minutes to read. So we're going to have these lessons from John Rankin. Now, I don't know how much you might know about him, or if any, but when I entered Unity in the 70s, John Rankin was known in the Unity movement as Unity's mystic. And I remember the first time I went into that Unity church, he had on a white silk suit, purple silk shirt, white tie, and a huge gold cross on it. I thought it was God when I walked in, but I was going to sit in the back row because you never know. You go into these places, better watch out. He started to talk. I did not understand one word that man said, but man, I would swear to it, whatever he was saying. It was beautiful. It was like poetry, but I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what he was talking about, but I was going to find out. So here is the lesson he wrote for himself on lesson selection. Out of the sea of radiant truth, I draw the theme that will bring the greatest insight to those who hear me and will awaken the healing power within them. The spirit in me calls forth from the spirit in them a topic filled with rich meaning, spiritual vitality, and ready application. This teaching is so alive and fascinating that my contemplation of it creates a communication line between God's mind and my mind. Along this line flows a clear and sparkling stream of counsel from on high. I am never puzzled or at a loss when selecting a lesson theme, for Spirit knows what I am ready to learn and what I am ready to teach in the power of Spirit's might. I wait in easy expectancy now for the whisper of Spirit which lifts my soul and prepares me to lift the souls of others. So let's start right here. You've gotten a phone call from a minister inviting you to speak at her church on a certain Sunday, 3 4 weeks, maybe, or months. And so in this phone call, you want to get your conversation straight with the head man or head woman. All right. And so I ask very practical questions. Do you have a particular topic you'd like to use, or shall I choose one of my own? Usually they say, choose one of your own, unless it's some special holiday. So then I say, well, how long would you like the lesson to be? Now, folks, most lessons are 20 to 25 minutes. And if you go 30 minutes, you probably won't be invited back again. Okay. Mark Twain, I think, is supposedly said, no souls are saved after the first 20 minutes of any sermon. I found that to be true. In fact, one of the churches when I worked with or as minister, when I took the job, the board of directors president took me aside. He said, if we don't get out of church at 3 minutes till noon, you won't be here very long, because these people have got to get to the cafeteria before the Baptists do. I was very, very careful. They got out 3 minutes till 12 every time. But some, not everybody goes to church for the same reason. It's a social event as well as a spiritual event many times. So that Sunday lunch with somebody is really important. And what we want to do is, in my opinion, we want to honor these people because they are giving us their time, because we really want to give them something that we are beginning to know. Yeah. And that's the truth. We're just beginning to know. So something else you need to know is who exactly is going to be in charge, since you're the minister and you won't be there. Who will be an in charge person? And what time would we like for me to get here? And is there a clock visible from the podium? And all those little details that you're going to need. And then when you go home and you start to think about what message do I want to give? And that's a really good time to take your own inventory. I have found, for me, I write the best sermons and give the best sermons when I'm dealing with when I am giving the sermon about what I'm dealing with. So I go into prayer and I take my little inventory. What are you dealing with right now? Is it a family issue, or is it financial, or maybe it's a big decision that you have to make? And so whatever it is, I realize that I get most passionate about those things that I'm working on. Now, I can talk to you about prosperity all day and all night, because I've done that for 45 years. But what about the time that Aunt Mary got mad at me and wouldn't talk to me? So how do I heal that? So everybody has family issues. Either they don't have any family, or they have too much family, or they have family won't go away, or they have family that won't come to see them. So there's always a theme that every family, every individual has to deal with. Every that I know has to do with finances, have issues. And it's only because we don't know that there's more than enough. But this particular job of finding out for yourself, what would I like to go hear a sermon on? And when you find that is what you'll be most passionate about, because you do your research. You really do. And you bring back what you've learned. And that's so powerful. We don't even begin yet to know how powerful it is to share that one-on-one buddy stuff. And so if we can get the conversation going in a sermon, and we've opened the way for people to talk about their issues, it's a powerful thing. But the right way to choose one, I don't know. Because I have other ministers who tell me different ways to do. And for me, I am most diligent and most powerful when it's something that I need, because I know we, as human beings, we're so different and yet we're so alike. We all have issues. Yeah. So if I can feel a way that I can solve my issue and I can share my genuine interest and excitement about it, I believe that I'm doing my very best to give you something of value. So, are you familiar with a book called Think and Grow Rich? It's been around forever. There's a line in that book that has been very powerful in my life. And as I review my life, I found out how everything happened just at the right time for me to learn the most from it. At last, that's the way I view it. So I was about probably in my 30s, 35 or so, and somebody gave me that book, Think and Grow Rich. And I was interested because I really needed to think and grow rich at that time. And there's a line in it. It's about midway through the book. It's one of the subchapters. And the line is this: directed faith makes every thought crackle with power. Well, that really struck me. Directed faith makes every thought crackle with power. And it sparked a memory of when I was a child. I guess I was about maybe 11 or 12. My little brother was about 5 or 6. And I remember it was about this time of year. And my brother, we weren't that close together so that we didn't play together, but he came barging into my bedroom one day and he said, Edwene, guess what I'm going to get for Christmas? Well, you know how you care about your little brother at that age. I said, what? He said, I'm going to get a pony. I said, sure you are. I wanted a pony all my life. I never got a pony. What makes you think you're going to get a pony? My little brother said, Santa Claus is going to bring me one. I said, sure, sure. I wanted a pony all my life. I never got a pony. What makes you think you're going to get a pony? He said, Santa Claus is going to bring me one. Well, in my infinite wisdom, I decided to share with him how the packages got under the trees and who put the milk and cookies out. And that's why you're not going to get a pony. My little brother leaned back, put his hands on his hips, and looked me straight in the eye and said, that's what you think. I'm getting a pony. And he starts out of the room. Well, his confidence shook me a little bit. So I went to my mother. I said, okay, mother, tell me the truth. Are you getting him a pony for Christmas or not? She said, no, honey, we're not going to get him a pony. He's just playing. Just leave him alone. He'll be fine, just fine. So immediately I felt better. He wasn't going to get a pony. But geez, I began to think about how disappointed he was going to get because he'd gone out. He went out in the garage and he found an old blanket. He was going to use as an army blanket to put over him after he had a bath. And he found an old wash tub he was going to use for the water. He dug around and found an old hairbrush he was going to use to brush the mane and tail. And I kept watching him, and I noticed my brother was getting ready for a pony. And his confidence shook me. So I went to my dad. I said, okay, Dad, now, I need to know the truth here. Are you getting him a pony for Christmas? He said, no, honey, just leave him alone. He's not bothering anybody. He's just playing. You just tend to your own horse killing. So again, I felt sorry for him. And I felt kind of guilty for being happy he wasn't going to get one. And so I began to suggest some other things. How about some Tinker Toys? Or no, how about a baseball bat? Yeah, no, the pony. So I left it alone. But I noticed he was still had a little broom. He got a stick horse. He was riding around the house. So about 2 weeks before Christmas, My father went on a hunting trip down in South Texas near the King Ranch, which is where we lived. It was about maybe a 2 hour drive from our house. Um, and my dad had been a good friend of this Mexican man who was one of the head honchos on the ranch, and he always invited him up to uh, go hunting. And so he get up before God and anybody, go out there in the dark and do whatever they do. But anyway, what happened? My dad said he got there and they went to the bunkhouse and got some coffee. And they were walking out to get in the pickup trucks, and they heard this commotion going on over in the stables. So they went over to see what was happening, and what they found was this beautiful Palomino mare giving birth to this little Palomino colt. And that rancher leaned over and put his hand on my dad's shoulder and says, Ed, you've been such a good friend to me all these years. Could I give this little colt to your son for Christmas? My dad was like a kid himself. They didn't even go hunting. My dad got a truck and he rode all the way back to pick up my mom and me and my little brother to go back and see that little pony. So we're getting out of the car, and I wish you could have seen my brother's face when he saw that little colt. And I wish you could have seen mine. That farmer, that rancher, was a very sensitive man. He knew something was going on around me. He came over and put his hands on my shoulder. He says, "Hey, Edwene, I wanted your brother to have the little colt, honey, but I wanted you to have the mare." See, this is what directed faith does. Not only does it bring you all the desires of your heart, but it blesses everyone around you because you directed your faith. You modeled what it looks like to create your own reality. We live in a universe that loves us and wants us to win. Deep breath. So let's take a look now at getting this message of what you're going to teach. Let's say you've gotten it now. So you've done the lesson selection. The second step is lesson preparation. So when I prepare and I've got my topic about what I want to work on, I started doing research. And most unities in a talk that rocks, most will have at least one Bible reference. Yeah. And you don't have to. It's not written in the Bible that you have to. But most unity people that I with over the years are old school. You didn't have Sunday, you didn't have the Bible in it. So we want to make everyone feel comfortable. Now, I have taught at unity churches where the minister came to me beforehand and said, we have quite a large Jewish community coming to our church, so we don't overdo the Jesus teachings. Yeah, we teach unity teachings, which are the Jewish. So, but what I want to do is not run anybody off. I want people to, if they believed in flying tomatoes, I would include something about a flying tomato. Not because it's truth, but because I love them and I want to honor them. So what we're focusing on, what I'm focusing on, is to start where they are and show them what it's like to be over there and how easy it is. Just change your mind and you change your life. That's how simple it is. Yeah. So in the prep that we're working on, let me read the second Rankin series. This is on lesson preparation. Get my glasses on here. The spirit of truth is enthusiastic. and I am inspired with its enthusiasm as I prepare this lesson. The Spirit of Truth is orderly, and an orderly, meaningful, and logical sequence of ideas unfolds in my consciousness. The Spirit of Truth is light and delightful and inspires in me a recognition of illustrations and humor to adorn and clarify the presentation of these ideas. The Spirit of Truth is transcendent, and I can rely on its activity to overshadow any seeming flaws or deficiencies in my personal mind. So there's a supernal truth and life revealed to my students through this lesson, exceeding anything that I could devise or prepare. I prepare my mind and body conscientiously so that Spirit has in me a clear, cooperative, flexible, and responsive channel through which to pour its potent message. So here's what I have begun to absorb, something I knew, but I'm beginning to feel it at the deepest levels, that you and I are not here by accident. I feel it someplace in our past, maybe a past life probably, we made a contract to go all the way with whatever this is we're into. And because we can't teach what we can't live. And that's where a lot of people jump out of this delicious, delightful pathway, because the lessons get hard. And well, maybe that's just for me personally. But there are times when I want to say, man, God, could you ease up a little bit? Because I come face to face with the fact that I'm not living the teaching that I say I believe. And so I love that kind of smack in the face. Just wake up and get back in the line. Now, deep breath. Have you ever made a mistake? Yeah. You're going to make more, and you're going to have to own them. You understand that? You're just going to have to own mistakes. One of the most embarrassing mistakes I ever made. I was teaching a class in Denver. Marianne Williamson was minister at the time. And it was a big group, a couple thousand people. And I was fixed up that day. You know what I'm talking about? I had a brand new, beautiful dress, some lovely new shoes. I was down to a size 2. Can you believe that? And I looked like something else. And I was so proud of it. And I was flaunting it and being Miss Thing all over the place. So we came to the break time, and I went to the ladies' room and came back in quickly during the break. And as I'm walking up on the stage, one of the ladies in the congregation ran up behind me and pulled my dress out of my pantyhose. They were all laughing. And I didn't have on any underwear. Every time I go back to Detroit, they point and laugh. They say, she showed her ass again. I didn't know. But see, sometimes we get too big for our britches. You know, as my grandmother used to say. And when we do, honey, God will keep you humble. And you laugh at it and you say, thank you, God, I learned something. Not paying attention. Oh, that made it all about me. Now, can you make this so that I can see the people I'm talking to? Please. I want to see. Oh, here we go. We're coming. We're coming. Oh yeah, she's yeah.
You can't see them all at
Oh,
once, but you
yeah.
could see a lot of
Yeah.
them
Oh, that's good.
because
Oh
there's a couple
God.
pages.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good looking folks. Hi everybody. Thank you for coming out and talking to me and playing with me. I'm so happy to be here with you. So I'm warning you, God will make you humble. So the thing I think I learned really about that was my focus was so much more on me than it was on them. Have you ever done that? You know what I'm talking about? And it's not when I catch myself doing that, I'm so embarrassed. I know better than that. But there's that little ego sneaks in there and say, "You're looking good today, honey." I don't like that of me, but I'm healing and I'm getting better at it. And I really am interested in you, believe it or not. I really am. I care about you, and I want you to win at life. But you already are, I know. But we have so much power. We have so much power to make this a world that works for everybody. And I know we're on that pathway. So we're now in lesson preparation. So that's where I'm so, when I first started this, I didn't have a computer. We didn't have internet. We barely had a telephone, you know. But today, research is so easy and we can do it so quickly. And so many things. And I want to recommend one particular, I'm sure many of you are already aware of it, but Truth Unity. Have you checked them out? Mark Hicks, oh, he's doing such a marvelous job with that. Wonderful stuff. And there's so many interesting changes going on now in our church evolution. And we're going to figure out a way that people can get excited about. Because I think a lot of the conversations I hear is that people get kind of bored with it. And I think some of that has to do with some of the ministers are getting bored with it. And that's why I think you have an opportunity to come back in here and blow their dress up. Yeah. You can say, hey, this is what it looks like to be free. Yeah, we need freedom lessons. Yeah. We need lessons in how to step outside your comfort zone and play big. Yeah. Okay, off the preaching. So okay. So one of the most important things that I do when I'm starting on any project or when I'm starting to put a talk together is okay, my talk's going to be on this subject. Then I ask myself this question: what is your behavioral objective? Now, a behavioral objective, in case you don't know, is you tell your child, for example, empty the trash, please, and bring it back in the can clean. Well, that's a very clear directive. My objective is to get the child to empty the trash and wash the can out and then bring it back. So back to this thing with Pericles, Demosthenes. Pericles was a good speaker, but Demosthenes got people to do action. So that if let's say you're working on a family issue, and with this particular group, and what do you want for a behavioral objective? Not you, but as the ones who's listening to you. They'll all be maybe they want to have a dinner party and have Aunt Martha come and have a really good time. Yeah. You can know whether or not that's happened if they tell you. It's not something that's in theory, in the vagueness. Yeah. So, for example, if I teach a group of people about tithing, my behavioral objective that I want, if they're newcomers to this notion, is I want them to uh, try it. Yeah, not asking them to commit to it. I'm asking them to try. Just give it a try. Now, about 50% of the people will come back to me and say, I tried it, and I'm just not ready for it. About 25% come back and say, I tried it, and man, I like the results. So if you can just get people to take that step over the line, because they can say, one of the favorite responses is, oh, I'm just not that kind of person. I don't believe in that kind of stuff. And I'm not here to argue with you. You're here to do it your way. But at some point, I had to ask myself this question: what if this tithing stuff is a real law and I miss it? So I'm not asking you to do anything that you don't want to do, but I was at the bottom of the barrel when it came to finances, and I needed some information. I'm not a stupid person, but I didn't know how to handle money. And once I started tithing, it just fell into alignment. So the notion I'm trying to import here is that what you're teaching has value, and the value is visible. And if we're here to do this very important teaching role, then we have a right to have some results. And I don't need your feedback, but I really do care what you're doing and how you're succeeding and how you're able to put the small things down. That's what I need to hear somebody talk about. I can read the books and read the laws, but how did it work for you? That's what I want to know. And that's one of the most valuable things that you can teach is your experience with it. The things that maybe the mistakes you made along the way, the things you need to, wish you could go back and redo and do it higher and better way. How to forgive yourself, how to get yourself off the hook. Yeah, you did some dumb things. But when you share your personal experience and not make it such a long drawn out drama, but when you can go there and share what's really going on, that powerful stuff. So now, when you've done this preparation and you go back over it, inventory yourself again. Is this true? Am I sharing truth? What's the underlying spiritual truth? I think the underlying spiritual truth is we're all doing the best we know how to do. And as we learn, we grow. So we don't have to be guilty over the past as long as what the Bible says is repent. And as we all know, repent simply means rethink, because it's all starting here in the mind. So if there's something going on in your life that you don't like, I should try to change my mind and say, okay, let me see the good in this, because I know everything in my life is good. There's only God. So it doesn't feel good right now. Show me, God. Ask God. That wonderful, wonderful scriptures from Jeremiah 33:3. Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and I will show thee mighty and almighty things that you know it's not. That wasn't a direct quote, but that's how I'm feeling about it today. It's a delightful, powerful thing. So I'm going to read. So we've done lesson selection, lesson prep. There's all sorts of ways that we could prep. The third lesson is the lesson delivery. Okay. So what we're going to do now, we'll come back and we'll start on lesson delivery. There's some really wonderful things I can share with you about that. And we're also going to do question answer. I think lesson delivery is vitally important. I want to make sure that we cover that when we come back. So we'll have a short prayer here, and then we'll go have a short break and come back, and we'll complete and give the time for questions and answers. So short prayer now. Father, Mother, God, thank you for this day together. These delightful, beautiful, wonderful people. Thank you for my Cindy, who's helping me so much, and for the hospitality of Deni and seeing new and old faces here. I'm really loving this. Thank you. I'm honored to be here with you. So, Father, Mother, God, open our heart, mind, our physical body, our historical record to cleanse us at every level and lift us into that level of knowing the Father and I are one, the Mother and I are one. All things are possible to me. We accept this as truth and let it be so in the name of all that's holy. And so it is. Amen. We'll be back shortly. What I'm missing is feedback.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I can't tell whether you're going to sleep on me or not, and I'm taking names.
Would everybody unmute themselves?
I'd like to hear them laugh or cry or, come on.
We're
breathe.
enjoying every minute of it.
Absolutely.
Thank
Laughing
you.
out loud enjoyment.
Thank you. You're so nice. I'm having fun. And there's still that part of me that I want you to get rid of. Part of me that says, am I doing it okay? Is it of any value at all? And I know that it is, or God wouldn't put me here. Yeah. And that's what you have to know for whatever you want to do. Because God put you right where you're supposed to be. Yeah. Okay. So, lesson delivery. John Rankin. The light of God takes form in me as I present this lesson. The truth is clear, direct, convincing, and fascinating. The personality steps aside now as truth itself reveals itself to me and my listeners. Laying aside all heaviness, I am ready to run with the Spirit as this lesson goes forth. I am free of all impediments and hindrances, physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual. Nothing within or without can now hinder the clear and charming expression of Spirit through me. The Spirit flows through my mind and heart so that truth is expressed fluently, brilliantly, helpfully, and powerfully. The Spirit knows what ideas are needed by the students gathered today. And so it brings to my remembrance the concepts and images which will meet these needs. Jesus Christ glorifies this hour with definite evidence of his presence and power. And here we are. So, in delivering the sermon, I get up early and I pray and go over my notes again, and then I start my collection of items that I take for every speech, every Sunday speech. And so I have a clock. I have because when you're up on the stage and you want to check the time, it's very rude to do this. Yeah. So when I first started, I would take one of those little pocket watches, but they would fall off the podium. So I got one of those little not alarm clocks for travel, and so that I can keep my eye on my time, because I do not want to go over. That's one of the fastest ways to lose your popularity. So you got your clock, you got your bottle of water, you have your offering check already written, ready to put in the offering. but because it's important, I think, for people to see you do that. Yeah. So when the offering service goes around, you make sure you're right there and visible. And then I always, if there's anything, if the minister is there, I always like to ask you, as I did Deni this morning, what is your goal today? My goal is to give and receive something of value. Now, here the receive. What are the difficult lessons for me to teach to ministers, probably teachers too, is that they're so willing to give, but say, oh no. And listen, I jump on them when they do that. Don't do that, because you're robbing them of a blessing. And you're also not loving you. And those two will mess you up until you learn to receive and learn not that you deserve it, but you're blessing them by receiving it. Because the more you give, the more you get to give. Yeah. The more you let you receive, the more you show yourself how you want to be treated. And if you keep saying no to people who want to give to you, then the universe says, well, she just wants to not receive. So we'll make her happy by not giving anything to her. And then you go behind the water bottle, or the water, what do you call those things? Drink of water.
Water, water cooler.
And then you complain to somebody, not all, complain, I'm working so hard and I'm just not getting any feedback. And well, see, you gotta welcome it. You gotta invite it. Because you and I are not doing this for the money, you know that. Yeah. We're doing this because we love to do this. We love to teach what we know. And I have found over the many years of doing this, that my values have changed so much. And I went through it all. I had the Cadillac convertible. I had the 3-carat diamond ring. I had the townhouse. I had trips to Tibet and China and Hong Kong and South America. I've been 44 different countries. And I enjoyed all that. But there was Thomas. Now, what are the later life lessons? And I have to confess to you that in this day and age, my day and age, I'm only 85, so I'm just getting started. We call that middle age when we get to that age. Yeah. In all that day and time, I have found that I am happier now than I've ever been in my life. Do you have that feeling? As I get older and older, like, God, if I knew old age was this much fun, I would have done it earlier. Yeah. Not really. Anyway, okay. So Sunday morning, make sure you got your Sunday go to meeting clothes on. Look good. Because we've got to make it easy for people to like us, yeah, to approve us. In earlier days in Unity, in ministerial school, there were even some clothing highly recommendations for on Sunday morning. For one thing, you couldn't wear open-toed shoes. I didn't dare ask why, but you go, and if you're not acceptable, which I rarely am, then you got to do your best to make yourself acceptable. Yeah. And then once you get a few little degrees after your name and people have your, kind of look up to you and you got a few awards, then I can be any way I want to be and everybody loves me. Yeah. If they don't love me, don't tell me. Because that's my personal belief. I personally believe that I love everybody, even all politicians. Yeah, they're all doing the best they know how to do. Honey, don't be mad at them. We're all doing, and I want them to love me that way too, because I'm doing the best way I know how to do. So we have so many wonderful ways to show up in the world. But I have learned for me right now at this point of evolution that the best way I can show up is as my real loving self. Because I'm interested in people and I talk to strangers and meet good friends. One of my new great friends is one of the cleaning ladies at the grocery store. That I'm not gonna say that. That soul is probably older than me. Yeah, I'm older than President Biden. At any rate, I'm sure you're really interested in that. So here's the deal: go with everything fixed, looking good. Now, if you're really offended by that concept, I just want to share what my notion of it is, and because I don't judge people by what they look like or what they're wearing or whether their shoes are open toed or not. I don't even see that almost, but I know what it feels like to be the outsider and not know what's going on, and people are not familiar to me. It's hard for me to relax and be comfortable. And that's what I want. If you're coming to the church for the first time, for example, I want you to be comfortable. I want myself to be comfortable. So for the most part, we are most comfortable when we're with like-minded or like dressed or like speaking people. So when I come to church and you're there as my teacher, I want you to tell me something that I need to know. And I know that you are being of intuitiveness. You know what I need to know intuitively. You can look at me and you can see, gosh, that woman needs love, or that woman needs money, or that woman needs attention. We know intuitively. And somehow, even though we don't think about it a whole lot, we know what to say if we're truly interested in them. And what we should say is not, how do you like the weather? Yeah. So what can you say when you meet that new person at the church? I'm so interested in that beautiful pin you're wearing. Can you tell me a little bit about it? Or what are you reading good these days? What would you recommend? I need a good book. Get involved. Put the the activity that draws you into this is called love. And that's when you love yourself and love others enough to trust each other to get involved in kindness. In kindness. I made a huge mistake at a church just about 20 years ago. And I used the statement in my talk. Let me get it. God is not a respecter of people. What's that? Does that go? God is no respecter of persons. It's in the Bible. And it means to me, what I think it means is that he doesn't care whether you're rich or poor, fat or skinny, ugly or pretty. God doesn't care. God is no respecter of persons. He doesn't put a rich person ahead of a poor person. But there was a woman there who thought I meant that God didn't like people. He didn't care about people. He wouldn't respect you. And she came up to me after the service and she was eating a banana. And she said, I can't believe that you dare to get up there and say God doesn't respect people. That's just, you're an idiot. I said, please forgive me. I didn't explain myself carefully. What I meant, no, she interrupted me. She said, no, ma'am, You say God doesn't respect people? I don't like you. I don't want to hear anything more you have to say. I said, please hear me out for just a minute. No, won't do it. And she hit me in the face with her banana. And I had banana squash all over my face. The thing I'm most proud of in that day I didn't level her. In the old days, she would have been flat on the floor. But I was so shocked. I couldn't believe I got attacked in church. What have I done wrong, God? And I couldn't do anything but laugh, which really made her mad. They called her, she was evidently had some mental challenges, and they came and got her and took her back. Yeah. But that makes me see how far I've come, because I'm not ready to poke you in the nose about that. It didn't even come up. It just made me laugh. At any rate, here's the deal. I know who you are. And I know your destiny. And it's all good. And some of you are going to be huge in what you give to the world. Others of you will be huge, but not as commercial. Nothing wrong with being commercial. Not as visible, but just as important. And it's your job to discover what your pathway is, because every single one of you has a message that's powerful, that fits, that lifts the spirit. Just being in your presence, I'm honored. So, a couple of books I want to recommend to you. Public Speaking Magic and 49 Habits for Public Speaking Success. Yeah. Highly recommend. I also recommend you need some speech practice and speech theory. Toastmasters is a wonderful organization. And the more you speak, the more you'll get better at it. Yeah. And it may be that you'll never actually accept how good you are. Once you begin to tell yourself, I'm loved, I am capable, I can do this, I know what to do and I do it. God is my source. I'll always have everything I need in spades. I can do anything I want to do. I trust the guidance I get from God within me. I'm willing and able to step outside my comfort zone and play with the big kids if I want to. I am free to be who I want to be and to do what I want to do and to do every single thing God gives me to do with ease and grace and joy and passion, and honor and wonder and respect. I believe in you. So if there are any questions, I'll be happy to give you my answer.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes, use this.
Frida.
Who is it?
Frida.
Oh, yes. Frida, is that Frida?
Frida, yes.
That's my name too.
Oh, really?
Frida Edwene.
Oh, spelled the same way?
Freeda.
Oh, I just have one E, but
Oh,
that's close
well,
enough.
I'm richer in E's than you. Go ahead, Miss Frida.
Okay. The pocket counselor. How do you spell John Rankin's last name? Because I tried to find it.
He's no longer with us in a body, but look up his name. It's Rankin.
Okay. Do you know if that book is still available?
It is not. I have a few copies.
I think I just looked on Amazon and I think it is available on
Oh,
Amazon.
tell me.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I'm glad to know that.
Yeah.
It says it's out of print.
Oh,
I was the last one who printed them, and I have maybe 10 or 20. I'd be happy to give them on a love offering basis. But I think I have about 20 or I'm not sure. But if you write me, and I'd like to offer them on a love offering basis.
And I have one more question. The
Yes,
second The second book you mentioned, I missed that name, the title of the book.
49 Habits for Public Speaking Success.
Thank you.
Mm. And really, this is a very powerful to market yourself involved in it, because with all the technology going on, there's a growing hunger for speakers in person, not on the internet. Not on, people are like to hear people talk like they did in ancient Greece. So,
Thank you.
Star, yes. Was there another question? Sorry,
I had my hand up.
I'm sorry, I don't see it.
Oh yeah, is that Cora?
Yes, Cora Alexander.
Wait,
I just wanted to just say that I did look on Truth Unity to see if the Pocket Counselor was on there, and it's not. And I just sent Mark Hicks an email to see what he can do to help us out.
great, good. That's a wonderful idea. I hadn't thought of that. Mark came down to see me maybe about 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, and did a big article on me for Truth Unity. But it's a good place to go. And when you have a sermon topic, you can look up sermon topics on the internet and read other people's sermons and see if there's anything there. I happen to love trivia. I don't know, I just love it. And so I try to find a piece of trivia for every sermon I live, just simply because of the fun of it. No, not particularly any use for it, but I like it. Like there's 76 listings of things we should not be afraid to do or be or see in the Bible. I probably won't need that unless I need to drop it into a talk like this. I like to know that. Was there anything else up for you that you would like to talk about?
I have a question. Will we have availability of this recording?
And we have recorded it, so
Oh, good. It
Yeah.
did get recorded?
yes.
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
hoping it's recording. It says it is.
We'll let you know.
If you've got questions, if you can use that the reactions and put a hand up, that would be great. Because we can't always see everybody
Right.
through two screens.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And by the way, my intention, hold this in prayer with me, please. My intention is to turn this into a book. So if you have anything you would like to contribute to how you do figure out what you're going to talk about, or how you prepare, or how you make your delivery, I'd love to have that information for possible inclusion in the book, with your permission to print it. Was there another hand anywhere? Yes?
I was applauding that you were going to be putting this into a book that we could all refer to later. I think it's wonderful. And I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited. Yes.
Oh, you're Kathy?
Yes.
Kathy, that's so nice of you. I'd love to have some of your addresses so I could send you a notice, but I guess Deni could do that. She'll know. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, we have a written chat from C and Ann. Says, Edwene, we would like to thank you for your amazing contribution to the world of understanding, prosperity, and all other acts of service you have left for all of us worldwide. We look forward to your next book.
Yay! Thank God. I have to tell you, my first book, The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, A Simple Guide to Unlimited Abundance. I was giving a talk in New York City, and unbeknownst to me that day, there was the president of a very prestigious publishing company. And when I got back to my home on the retreat, he called me. He said, I want you to write a book. Whatever you write, I'll publish. I said, well, gosh. He said, I can't talk to you anymore now until you get an agent. I said, well, I don't know exactly how to do that. He said, I'll get you one. So I had all these agents call me, and I interviewed them all, and I picked one that I would, felt I could work with very well, and I could. So she called, And she said, how far along are you in your book? I said, well, I haven't even started yet. She said, okay, to get you started on the right track, you need an agent. And I said, well, I don't know exactly how to do that. She said, I'll get you one. So she had all these editors, she called them, and they called me up, picked out one that I really liked, who was a really, really good editor and knew how to put things together very well. At any rate, so when the book was written, I told the agent, be sure and send this now to the guy in New York, the publisher, because he really wanted something. She said, well, I'm going to send you some others too. Well, what happened is these publishers got in a bidding war over my little manuscript. And one was in New York and one was in California. And they kept going up and up and up. And I didn't know exactly what to do. And so I asked the one in New York, what's your vision for this book? And he said, I see this book as a classic in the religious section. And then it'll be in every minister's library. I said, okay, let me get back to you. And so I called the other one, the one who had the highest bid. And I said, what's your vision for this book? And he said, we see this as a bestseller. Which one would you go for?
First one.
I went for the bestseller because I want it in everybody's hands. And here's what happened. The first day of print, my book hit the bestseller list, number 10, but it was tied with Wayne Dyer's new book.
Wow.
With absolutely no advanced publicity.
Wow.
So you got to know it's a God thing. Yeah. So the highest truth I know in this moment is love yourself and love one another, and especially love those that are just almost impossible to love. We are in a very important turning point in our nation's history. And we got to do it with the right heart space, or it won't take. Yeah. I love you.
We got a question from Patricia Wagner.
Okay.
Patricia Wagner.
Patricia Wagner.
Yes, Edwene.
Hi.
Oh, thank you. I've been to Alabama to your retreat, and it was wonderful. And I met you in person as well other times. So, yeah, it was a long time ago. But anyway, my question is, have you ever given any thought, or maybe you've already done it, where you teach a course on writing books, on how to get your spiritual book out there to the world? I've been wanting to write a book for over a dozen years, and it still hasn't manifested yet, but I know it's coming, and I should certainly use the guidance and the coaching and the accountability.
I would love to tell you. I don't know how I did that. Because I don't think I did that. I knew I wanted that book out before I died, but I wasn't in any hurry to get it out. I just wanted it out here. But when it just happened, it just made itself happen. I didn't do anything. Yeah. And my teacher would tell me this: you earn that by right of consciousness. And as long as your consciousness is growing in love for yourself and others and the hard to love, you won't ever be able to predict the kind of miracles you'll have. But there'll be divine surprises. Yeah. But I'll tell you, I'll give you an assignment perhaps. Why don't you start your diary now about how to write a book and how to publish a best-selling book, and write your intentions all down, You can put dates on there or not. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But the moment you get your intention on paper, what happens, in my opinion, is you set the entities in motion. Things you wouldn't even dream of asking for show up. It's just it's a magical level of living when you know that everything you need is always at your fingertips. There's never any concern about anything. Now, I haven't mastered that yet, but it's getting easier and easier to believe how good life is. Yeah.
Frida has a question.
Frida? It's Frida.
Yes, I wanted to know, can you tell me how you saw yourself change as far as public speaking goes? What you were initially, or how you delivered initially, and how you became better?
As a child, I could not say my name out loud without crying. And I was just so scared to be in this world. I want to cry again. But little by little, I had things that people liked in my age girl, like I could do nice artwork and sculptures and sew, and the more it's almost like I had to earn my right to be okay for myself. I had to finally say I'm okay. I can live here. I don't have to be the best, but I have to be good. And so when I got into high school, it's the first time I ever felt I could talk in public. And I did, and people liked it. And I would go back and tear it all apart at home. I should have done this. I should have worn this. So it was very hard for me to start to love myself. And I felt I had to prove. So, I was a fanatic about the grades I made, and I had to be perfect. And so it was a lot of breakthrough of that perfection crap, pardon me. But little by it all boils down simply said to self-love, self-acceptance, and even beyond self-acceptance, self-glorification, realizing that you are God in human form. Now, I wouldn't advise you to go and yell that in the middle of Walmart, but you have to know it. God made you. How could you be anything but perfect? God also made that politician that might be in your mind. And you're no better.
We got a question from Annie.
Uh-huh.
Annie, do you want to tell your question?
Where are you, Annie?
I'm here.
Oh, there you go, sweetie.
So first of all, I just want to really say it's so nice to see you again. I actually saw you in 2005 at Unity of Citrus, and it was an
Unity of where?
Unity of Citrus in Citrus County, Florida.
Oh, yeah, I remember. How are you?
Good. So
Good.
part of what I wanted to share, though, is that you have in a remarkable way to weave in humor. And that's also what I really remembered in 2005, but it also just came right back to me as you're talking. And I love that engagement in terms of weaving that in, because it just creates, to me, just such an inside joy.
Yes, yes. This is a funny lifetime, It didn't work out the way I thought it was going to work out, and it's gotten better, And not to say I didn't have lots of challenges, but God, I've gotten so hooked up now on this notion of the more I appreciate what I've got, the more good stuff I get. So I'm being very careful to acknowledge the gift of you and the gift of all of you. My world just expanded a millionfold to be able to be with you. And I feel like I have been with you today. Okay. Anything you'd like to say before we close, Cindy Dunn?
It's wonderful to see you and hear you.
Thank you.
What a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart. What's your name? Tell me your name.
Barbara.
Barbara, because it has my name in front of you.
Yeah.
It says Edwene Gaines. And then
Yes.
it doesn't. So, okay, we're going to have a prayer.
Before we go,
Yeah.
Reverend Edwene,
Where are you?
can you, I don't, somewhere on your screen, maybe on the second page.
Okay.
I work with Deni on the board of
Oh,
Southeast
I tell
Unity
you, I tell
Ministries.
you.
Okay. You said that you would be interested in having people send you some information that you might include in your book.
Yes.
I work on the newsletters with Deni, and I'm happy to send that out if that's something that you would like to receive some of those.
Yes.
And
yes.
I can include a call for action if that's something that you might be
Yes.
interested in.
But how fascinating. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
But
Here's one thing. Tell me your first name again.
Todd.
Todd. Todd, when this gets into book form, when this is being writing process, anything that of yours that you send me that I want to include, I'll have to have documentation saying that this is given to Edwene Gaines with the notion that she can freely publish this.
Yeah,
Something
absolutely.
like that. We'll see what the attorneys say, but because I want everybody to get credit, but I also want them to know that I'm not paying for this.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I'm being selfish because I don't want you to have any excuses to say I don't have enough stuff to put in here, other stories that you want to include. I want to make sure you have everything you need so you can get this done because I want it in my collection.
Thank you.
So
thank you. That's so nice, Todd. I'm really touched by your generosity. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, we are all touched by your generosity to this incredible movement over all these years and for taking time today to be with us. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. One part of the journey here that I don't think I've ever told anybody, but I feel like you'll get it. The first maybe 20 years of the ministry, I wanted those awards that they were giving everybody, you know. I wanted them. And I wanted to be acknowledged, and I wanted to be Miss Thing. And I woke up one morning and I realized I don't want any of that stuff anymore. I don't want it. And that year I got every one of those awards, every one. And it didn't matter. Isn't that something? That's so amazing to me. But I think it had to work that way for me to realize what's really important. What's really important is this. Yeah. Heart to heart, mind to mind. This has been an enormous blessing to me. Thank you. Thanks, Cindy. Thank you, Dee Dee. I keep looking for you in my living room, but you're not there. Anyway, so I would like to have a closing prayer. Would you like to finish it? I'll start it and pass it over to you, Deni. Does that work for you? Okay. Deep breath. Spine is straight, it's just comfortable. Let your shoulders drop. Feel free. No chains that bind us. No blocks or barriers strong enough to keep us from being who we are. Bold, brave, free, unique in the universe. Never been anyone like you and me, and never will be again. We have a mission that we're on. And the world has made room for us to be the light of the world that we really are. I'm calling for, in Old Testament terms, an anointing of these divine souls, empowered now to do whatever in the world they want to do. Nothing can stop them. Their highest dream is not big enough for them yet, but they know what they're doing, whether they think they know or not. They're following their guidance. They're living their lives according to their plans implanted in them by God to act as God agents on planet Earth. So we invite the Holy Spirit to take charge of our lives as we give ourselves permission to be God in the world. Knowing that our touch of the hand, heart, energy heals, renews, transfigures, lifts us all up into a level of light living. Only God lives here in our hearts. And we decree and declare that we know what to do, and we do it with joy, with gratitude, with abundance, with creativity, knowing that anything we ask, we call to God, and God answers us and shows us amazing and mighty things that we knew not. And we choose now to remember to ask, and we receive with grateful, grateful, grateful energy. Thank you for all the good in our life, God. Thank you for each other. Thank you. And I pass now to our sister, Deni.
And we know that in this very moment, we have been blessed. We have been blessed by a love fest of letting us remember that we can receive and receive graciously because it is ours to receive. That we are an expression of God in everything we do, in everything we say, in everything we speak. And we know that we've been given tools today that will take us far and will help us no matter what we are doing, whether we're speaking on Sunday, whether we're just talking to someone as we see them in the store. We understand that we have power and we can use it. And our power is love. It is understanding. It is taking time to be there for someone. And we see this happening in all that we do, whether it is a chance encounter with a neighbor, or whether it's speaking on Sunday or teaching a class. And we are grateful. We say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen.
So it is. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'll meet you at the pass.
Thank you so much. You've just absolutely made our days.
Thank you.
Thank you, Edwene. Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you
generosity.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You. Blessings, blessings.
I accept. Thank you.
You are
Go
love
have fun.
incarnate.
Go do miraculous things. Yeah. I interrupted someone. Please forgive me. Who was that?
Just Bill wanting to let you know you are love incarnate.
Does that come with a crown?
I see it
You
now.
already have your crown.
You're wearing regal purple. What else, you know?
Oh, I love this. Isn't it pretty? I love this color. Yeah. Okay. This feels real strange for me because I'm thinking, okay, I have to drive home, but I'm in the home. That feels really strange. I was going to ask you to come out and have some coffee, but I'm not doing that. Okay, folks, thank you so much for inviting me. It was really, really great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Deni. Thank you.
And Cindy came.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you, Cindy.
She goes to the Unity Church here with me.
My pleasure.
And Edwene, we'll talk in a few minutes, okay?
Okay, darling, sounds good. I'll be right here.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you all for coming. It was wonderful.
For hosting.